Hey guys, how's it going? It's Janie over here at Janie Sweets, and in this episode I'm coming at you with a recipe for my pink champagne cake. Now this cake is perfect for any New Year's Eve parties you have going on, but really any other kind of celebrations. I use this particular cake for my birthday, so if you want to learn how to make it, keep on watching. So to your stand mixer fitted with a paddle attachment, you are going to add in 2 sticks of butter at room temperature and then 9 ounces of sugar. Now you're going to let that mix for about 10 minutes on medium to high speed, and the reason why you want to mix it for such a long period of time is that you want to make sure that your batter or that your cake rise in the oven, and so you want to incorporate a lot of air into it. So definitely let it mix for a very long time, almost as if you were making buttercream. You want it to become pale and white and fluffy, and then once it's at that state, you can go ahead and start adding in the rest of your ingredients. So this is what I'm showing you right now, what it's supposed to look like. See how it has changed in color and it's super fluffy, and you can't really see the grains of sugar almost anymore. This is when you know you have achieved the perfect consistency. Now moving on to the next step, you can start adding in 3 egg yolks, and you don't want to add in the whites, you just want the yolks at this particular moment. Don't throw away the whites because we are going to use them, but at this stage you just want to add in the yolks. Once your eggs are incorporated, you're going to start adding in your flour and wet ingredients. So your dry ingredients are 9 ounces of flours and a tablespoon and a half of baking powder, and then your wet ingredients are a cup of champagne, and that's it. So you want to add 1/3 of your dry ingredients, a half of your wet ingredients, then again another 1/3 of your dry, and then the rest of your wet, and then another one of your dry. So you want to do 3 dries, 2 wets, and that's important that you do it in this particular order. Now once your batter is completely smooth, you don't want to beat it for too long because the glutens are going to start forming in the flour and you're going to just have a very tough and dense cake. You can go ahead and add your pink food coloring. That's optional, but it is a pink champagne cake, so I wanted the pink to stand out. Once that's done, just put it aside and then start working on your egg whites. So this is 3 large egg whites. I'm using a hand mixer for this, and I'm going to add in about 1/4 cup of sugar. It's not specific, you just want to create kind of a meringue. So just start beating your egg whites and then add in a little bit of sugar to that, and then continue beating at a high speed until you form about medium to stiff peaks. You don't want it to be dry, but you also don't want it to be runny. So just keep beating it until it gets to the desired state. See how right now it's a little bit too runny, so I just want to let it beat a little bit more. Once I take it out and it's at the desired stiffness, I'm going to dump all of it into the rest of my mixture, and I'm going to fold it with my spatula. And you're not beating it, you're folding it just like I'm showing you. You're just passing your spatula under and then over, under and then over until it is completely mixed in there. You want to make sure that you don't deflate the batter either. So once that's done, I'm going to divide my batter equally between 2 7-inch pans. Now, for some reason, this batter really gave me a short cake. I wasn't expecting that because normally when I make a batch of cake, it's usually a little bigger than that. But anyway, just go ahead and pop that into the oven. If you want a taller cake, I would suggest you make 2 batches. So you're going to bake it at 350 degrees until it is springy to the touch, and then let it cool completely. Now to assemble this whole thing, I'm going to simple syrup the entire cake and then ice it with my Easy Meringue buttercream that I've just dyed a pink color. So I'm just going to sandwich the 2 cakes together, and then I'm going to use my knife to kind of cut off the size of the cake. I'm going to show you what I mean. So you see how the sides of the cake are not pretty, they're kind of caramelized, they're not burnt. This is just what happens, you know, in the normal baking process. So when I am making a cake that I want to look pretty when you slice into it, like a wedding cake or anything like that, I just run my knife around it and just kind of clean off the edges, and that's just that. There's nothing really to it. It's just for aesthetics. So go ahead and use a damp cloth and then clean off your board, and then you can go ahead and ice the entire cake smooth. Now I have a recipe for that easy meringue buttercream. If you're interested in learning how to do it, I will link it for you guys below in the description box. So then I'm going to grab my bench scraper as well as my spatula and just make everything smooth. And then pop that into the refrigerator to set for a little bit. In the meantime, I have here just some Wilton candy melt. I'll link it for you guys below if I can find it on Amazon. And I'm going to spread it over a piece of parchment paper. And then I'm going to use my palette knife to create just, I guess spikes. I don't know how you would call this. There's just like little squiggly designs on it, and then let it cool completely in the freezer. Once it comes out, I'm going to break it into four pieces or 4 shards, and then just pop that to the side to start decorating the cake. So to decorate it, you literally just press into it. Now the cake is pretty soft, but if it was frozen or anything, you could just use a knife to pierce it before you insert the chocolates on it. Now I have just some regular macarons. I'm going to sprinkle a little bit of highlighter dust, or how else do you call this? It's not disco dust, it's like just gold highlighter dust. And then once I'm happy with how it looks, I'm using my buttercream to stick it onto the cake however I like it. I have here some popcorn that I've just dyed or spray painted pink, as well as some mini marshmallows that I've spray painted pink. And then if you've seen my rose cake, my DIY rose using Russian piping tips cake, this is the same tip that I'm using here because I'm going to add a little bit of flowers here and there. I'll link for you guys the exact video that I'm talking about so you can see how I made it. So just keep adding your macarons, your things, like every decorations that you have. Oh, this is a edible lace. I really am planning on making a edible lace video for you guys. So once I do, it will be linked in the description box below so that you can check out how I made this. But in the meantime, just admire the prettiness. So once I have stuck everything onto the cake and I'm happy with how it looked, I am going to brush on a little bit of the gold onto the chocolate, and this is the final result. I just popped a happy birthday topper on there, and I use this as my birthday cake, and da-da, you get to see me. You never really see me on the video, so this is what I look like. So anyways guys, if you liked this tutorial, definitely give it a thumbs up. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my last video if you click on this annotation right over there. I am on Instagram as well as on Facebook. All my socials are at Janie Sweets. Subscribe to the channel if you have not done so you do not miss out on any other future videos that I will be putting out to you. I hope you guys had an awesome Christmas if you celebrate Christmas, and that you have an amazing new year. I love you. I'll talk to you next time.